why guy and publisher of Defyeneurs, and welcome to the 2018 New Year launch issue called Getting Real. And it's featuring everyday people that I absolutely love and admire who are getting real with their why. So tonight, I'm live with Kris Sanders of Oregon. Kris, welcome.
Hey, hi, Gerry.
Kris, you know how excited I am about everything about you. Your hair, your look, your gift of time. Your gift of time. I exist to inspire others with the gift of time. This is by far one of the most profound whys that is very close to my heart, because everything I do is all around this present moment. And when you and I spent that time together, I was brought to tears. So share with us. Why do you exist? Tell me about this gift of time.
Well, I tell you, Gerry, we take time for granted, and it's just one of those things like, breathing. We don't think about it until something, big happens. And I just really have this feeling in my heart that people need to think about that a little bit more and realize that time is a precious commodity, and it's really important how we invest it, and if it's going to bring us joy or if it's going to deplete us. So it's just an amazing gift.
Well, I love that, because that ties into a quote that you share, which is very profound. And it goes like this: time is our most precious commodity, and we tend to spend it without really realizing what we're spending it on. And I just think that's so profound, because you've seen a lot, you've been through a lot, and you're going through what I believe is the greatest transformation, reinvention of your life. And I believe it's because of your own gift to yourself, which is this gift of time. So share with me, how are you getting real with your why? I know you've been sharing this why and doing some cool stuff online. So how are you getting real with it?
Well, I think for me, the biggest aha moment for me in getting real with it is when I look at the word time and I came up with guidelines for what it means for me. Mm-hmm. And so I utilize those guidelines in everything that I do to determine if what I'm doing, is going to fulfill me or, be promising for somebody else, so that I know that I'm not wasting my time, and it's all about togetherness and inspiration and me, which, some people feel like it's selfish, but it's not. And then energy and enthusiasm. So I just kind of look at that and utilize those guidelines in planning out my days.
I love it. Togetherness, inspiration, me time, which I totally agree is what people don't include in their day-to-day schedule. And of course, energy. I love it. But I love that you're using this lens of looking at your time based on fulfillment, what fills you up. That's fantastic, because that's what it's about. So let's just stay on that. For people listening, what are some tips to be able to live this amazing structure of time that you've laid out? What are some tips?
Well, I think, if you take the time to kind of look at what time means for you, because maybe the guidelines I have are things that you're thinking, wow, yeah, that's exactly what it means to me. And if so, my goodness, please use it. But if you think about it, like, I can give you a little example, a work example. I can give you a work example where I put that guideline in. There was a training that I really wanted to go to, and I had been wanting to go to this training and hadn't had the opportunity. And so when it came up at a time that was like really not probably the best time to go. And it would have been so easy to say, oh, I can't do that. There's no way. And then I stopped and I went, wait a minute, for one thing, there's going to be togetherness with an incredible group of people at this training. It's going to be inspiring. And I am worth it. This is going to help me in so many ways. So I'm worth it. And the energy and enthusiasm that I will get from it, there's just no way that I cannot afford to do this. So those are kind of the things that I look at when I'm looking at something to see if I should invest in it.
I love it.
And it's been working amazingly.
I love it. Those are fantastic tips. If I had to sum that up for me, would be, because I'm taking tons of notes as you're talking, even though we've built this profile, I'm getting more inspired now, but it's making time for what really matters. Mm-hmm. And that's what I get from my why time with you is it's less but more. I often say less but better. And I love that. You have another quote you share here. It goes like this: if you had a bright, shiny new gift to open each day, what would you do to get the most out of it? I think that's very cool. So you're building some great things around you. You've got this killer team that you're building. Oregon has never looked shinier than since you really ignited your why. How is living your why impacting others around you? Everyone, your team, your family, all those folks.
Well, what I'm seeing, Gerry, is like what I realized that the gift of time does for me, and me understanding that deeper purpose, is I get such a warm feeling in my heart, and I just feel almost like it's like radiating out from me when I'm experiencing the true abundance and authenticity of giving myself the gift of time or giving it to others. And what I've noticed is that the people that I've shared that with, or they've just noticed something different about me, and they're like, what is going on? What have you been doing? Because whatever it is, I want some. Yeah. And I just feel like that light has finally been able to ignite, and you helped me do that. And it's just, the more I'm living through it, that the bigger things that are coming to me that are just like, oh my goodness, that was there all along. It's just really been an incredible journey.
I love that. I love that. That's such a great answer. It was always there. This deeper why was always there, but you decided to listen to what I call the whisper, and now it's thundering in your heart, which I think is so cool. I love how you share. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, on that note, because this is something that you had said the first time you said this to me, I thought to myself, you're right. What are you talking about? It's been there all along. And when you talk about the people's, like, your deeper purpose, you were born with it. It was there. And I thought, yeah, right. But after we had our why time together last July, the things that started happening were just like, wow. And one of them was, it was being able to be a daughter to the end for my parents that ignited this in me. And I knew immediately when I lost my dad, and I had this overwhelming just feeling of peace and love in my heart, that I knew that was my gift to share. Because in a situation like that, people are grieving and sad. And even though I had my grief, and I still do, I still had such an overwhelming feeling of peace and love in my heart. And I just wanted everybody to have that, because if you really take advantage and just really resonate with the gift of time and what that means, you won't have any regret. And regret leaves us hollow. But what I discovered as I went further with that was, all of a sudden I remembered over 20 years ago, I read The 5 Love Languages for the first time. Love that book. Well, guess what my love language is? The quality time. And I'm like, oh, there's that time thing popping up. And then recently, as I was reflecting, and I was actually thinking of my dad, because I'm a huge Star Trek fan and Star Wars, and that's because my dad and I used to watch the original Star Trek together. So, okay, I just aged myself, y'all. But
your favorite, that's my favorite.
I was like 6 or 7 years old. We looked forward to that time together, to sit down on the couch together and watch that show. And it was, once again, it was that quality time. So I know that time and that gift of what it means for someone and what it can do for your heart was with me all along.
Yeah.
So it's pretty amazing.
You really honor us, Kris, by sharing that story, because you demonstrated again that we carry love in our hearts. We carry that, and when we allow that love to overflow, we start to see the signs. And that's what you've been doing. Like, the signs are everywhere. It's just paying attention to them. And I love what you said about regret leaves us feeling hollow. And the more and more that I see you stepping into your why and sharing it, you seem very fulfilled, very complete. And I think that's very contagious. It's another reason why I want to spend more time with you. So there's another quote, and well, it's actually about your parents. I want to come back to this gift of time. And I'm going to throw a legacy question out at you. And I haven't done this with the other people. So you have to hold on, because this is a heavy one. I don't normally throw this out unless I really feel like somebody can benefit from it. So I'm very touched by your love for your parents. I'm very touched by your connection to your family. That's something that really inspires me and brings me to tears. What would your years from now, when you and I are together, up in the sky, holding hands, looking down, what would your family say about you? How did Kris Sanders live her life?
I think that they would say that she epitomized the gift of time and gave her all to all of us whenever we needed it. And it, it's just something that I think fills everybody with that peace and love. I really want to be able to leave that feeling that I have and in my heart of peace and love, even after I'm gone, for all the people that I leave behind. So that's what I hope I leave as my legacy, that people really, will grab hold of that gift of time themselves for whatever it means for them and be able to live that life so that they don't have that regret.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Okay, my last question for you. You handled that so well. So my last question is, some things had to shift in your life. So what shifted in your life from knowing why?
Well, I think, we've touched on it a little bit, but, for me, and this is just where the power comes in with you too, Gerry, because I really felt like I came to the realization that the gift of time was a deeper purpose for me right after I lost my dad. However, I didn't know what to do with it, and I didn't know how it was like, okay, there it is, but nothing was shifting, if you will, or changing until we had our why time, and you were able to connect dots for me that were like, oh my gosh, it was there the whole time. And what I realized was, by taking that guideline that I use and knowing that this is just one precious life and I want to live it to the fullest, and I want to be able to share the joy and the passion and love for all of those around me. And I needed to honor myself and not just shut down, like, I can't do that, I can't do that. I needed to just be. And when you be, you just realize that there's so much more that you can do. And I mean, from being able to spend that time with my parents and not worry about anything else, and to be able to take the trip of a lifetime with my daughter to Italy this year. I would have never done that before. I would have talked myself out of it. But that was such a precious gift of time that will forever be etched in my memories. And to have that experience with her, and to see the look on her face when we were in Florence, and those are the kinds of things that have shifted for me. It's just like, I use those guidelines, and it's like, yes, you can do this. This will bring joy to you. This will, build something up for somebody else. So I just, that's how it's really shifted for me. And I'm so looking forward to how it's going to just continue to ignite and grow in 2018.
I love it. I love it. This live interview is a joy for me. And I often say why is a way of being. It's not about the doing, it ignites the way. Why will always ignite the way. It's the greatest gift. That's why we call it a present.
That's true.
And I love it because this is a profound profile. It's called The Gift of Time with Kris Sanders in Oregon, pages 26 and 27. And I'm excited because Angela and I will be launching you officially in Oregon, which just gives us another reason to come out and spend time with you and your lovely team, your lovely family. So with your team listening, with all those around you listening, what's your final message for people that are just maybe holding back from really going for it?
Let go of the fear. Just write that word down and burn that paper, because that's what's holding you back. I gotta tell you that when I scheduled our why time, I threw out a date, and as soon as I sent it off, I went, oh, what did you do that for? I gave you 2 dates. You picked the one I was fearful for. And because it was my mom's birthday, and I thought, I'm gonna be so emotional and just really vulnerable. And then I thought, well, wait a minute, that's probably a good thing. And it was. So you've got to let go of that fear and ask yourself, what does time mean to me?
I love it. We're going to see you in March. Anybody, to all listeners, especially in the Oregon surrounding area, get a hold of Kris Sanders. Find out how you can embrace the gift of time. Be a part of the launch of Getting Real. So, Kris, on behalf of Defyeneurs Worldwide, thank you for sharing your deeper why, this gift of time, with all of us, because the world is truly helped by you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gerry. Can't wait for March.
Me too.